Hello, everyone. Thank you for being in here with me today. I hope you have been having a nice week so far. I hope that all this astrological moment haven't been leaving you on the couch for the rest of the day, all day long, because that would be totally understandable. Um, and there are so many things going on, right? First of all, I would like to make a remind of something very important: astronomical events for August. If there is something that I like, is astronomical events for the obvious passion of stargazing. And I saw something that could be really, really interesting, which is a conjunction of Mars and Jupiter on August 14th. So, yes, that's why I wanted to talk to you about this because that's tomorrow. So, if you want to watch it, you find Jupiter and you will find along with it Mars on a conjunction. Okay, so this just for us to be able to appreciate with our own eyes. Um, as I go by, I usually talk to you guys about the personal experiences I'm growing from, right? Again, I love the spot and I cross my legs. And so many things has been happening. And because I'm trying to use all the wizardry at my reach to make my transition smoother, So at a certain point by the last week, I started questioning myself. If I already know how to do the exercise of visualizing, why don't I just start to try to visualize my prosperity, right? Because we were talking about it on Lionsgate Portal Day, right? August 8th. And then I stopped myself at a certain point, concentrated, just myself alone. And I started, okay, let me try to imagine, let me see, very prosperous. And then nothing came. Nothing came. Not only that, but not besides the fact that nothing came, also, I kept receiving painful thoughts in order to try to divert myself from visualizing my prosperity. And I was like, what is that all about? Things that were so strong in the opposite direction that I was about to cry. And I was like, why was I trying to visualize my prosperity? And out of nowhere, I'm here almost crying. But it's our mind, right? And we have to be very careful because our mind lies, right? Our thoughts, they are not necessarily true. And because of that, I started talking to my guides because I was like, hey, there is something weird in here. I was trying to visualize my prosperity, and for some weird reason, only painful thoughts are coming. Are you guys trying to say that I'm going to be like really, really, really poor, and this is your way of giving me the bad news? And at a certain point, I really started talking to everything that I know about the psychology part of how mind and emotional works and what are the things that we block ourselves. And then I read about limiting beliefs, right? Of course. And there was I, and there was my blocked thought. And I started asking myself, why is this going on? And I kept remembering of everything that I read about the subject. And I was like, okay, if I'm trying to think of something and that is bringing me to pain and almost tears, that means that that thing which I'm trying to look for is something that makes me scared. And probably I'm trying to diverge to another type of thought because I'm scared, afraid of my thoughts of prosperity. And then I was like, oh my God, am I scared of my own prosperity? What's going on? And I understood, because I always talk to you guys, that prosperity is not necessarily about the money that you gather by working with your hands, but sometimes prosperity comes to us from so many entrances, right? And I was being told by my goddess for some time by now that I had to be open, because my prosperity didn't need to be necessarily what society had taught me how to prosper to, you know. And they were thinking, yes, there are so many ways prosperity can come to you. And then I got even scared, because I thought about it the whole week, and I got a trip to another city with a 5-star house to stay in with breakfast included. When I got back to my city, I got tickets for a comedian show, a stand-up comedian show in my city, which I really wanted to go. And if not only that, I was at home, and my partner was interested in a amplifier, sound amplifier for playing his guitar, and one of his friends just brought it to him, and I kept thinking like, "Oh my god, they're trying to tell me that I don't need any money because I'm going to get stuff from other people." And I was like, "Oh no, don't do that. I don't want to live by charity." And I was like, "Oh my god, should this be like a bad sign or a positive sign? Because maybe means also that they people will come to give us whatever we need, right? And that is always a good sign. But of course, that I want to be able to decide by myself for the money." So I was like highly worried. And my at a certain point on Sunday in my country, it was Father's Day, and my daddy is with Papa in el cielo, is with God in the heavens. And I felt like at a certain point, I tried to talk to my father, and I used my memory of him to try to simulate our conversation. But it went on a different direction, that I think I actually got to speak to my father, and things got like really serious, because I started crying, and I started crying, and I started crying, and I started crying, and it wouldn't stop. And there was 1 hour crying, and there was 3 hours crying, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't cry for my dad, not even on the day this much, not even in the day that he died. Do you think I was surprising with myself, right? And after a certain point that I was crying, one of my spiritual mentors, one of my guiders, he I suppose came to me and said, "Hey, remember once that you wanted to do a healing, and you were scared because you didn't even know what was the subject that needed to be healed? And we just told you to allow yourself to cry, that in the end of the crying, you understand why you were crying for it." I was, yes, okay, I do understand what you're saying. And he was like, yes, leverage from the fact that you're crying so hard to try to go into the end of it, to see if you can understand why are you crying about. And that's how I did it. So I kept crying, and after the 3rd hour, something kind of started coming up to my senses, that I was afraid of my own dreams, and I couldn't visualize my prosperity, because maybe I was afraid of being having so much access to everything that I wanted. And I thought to myself, but if I am trying to stop myself from having access to everything that I've always wanted. What is it that I am so scared about? And I was like, investigative, right? Because I really wanted to find the root cause of it. And I was like, what do I like so bad that could hurt me that much? And at that point, I started visualizing myself going to Japan and going to a monastery, finding a monk, and talking to that monk. Hey, I came here all this way so someone could help me how to meditate. And he was mocking at me and said, but you didn't have to come all this way. You could do that in your own house. And I had another imagination in which I was in France, and I had another one in Italy, and in all of them I was alone. And when I realized that, something like really strong across my heart, as if I had found it, as if, hey, yes, that is it. What is it? You are always in your thoughts traveling alone. And you don't want to travel alone. You want to travel with the ones you love. So you are afraid that if your life brings you to fulfill your dreams, you would have to do that on your own. And because because I believed that if I were to fulfill my dreams, I would be alone, I was preventing myself from visualizing me fulfilling my dreams. Because yes, I feel like sometimes I am so out there to the world, and my love for the earth and seeing new geographical spaces and new cultures, I'm so in love with that sometimes I feel and I think that if I go fulfill my dreams and meet my dear sweetest Pachamama, I am going to be leaving my family behind. And I was hurting myself because I was thinking, I cannot fulfill my dreams, because if I fulfill my dreams, I'm going to hurt myself and my family and my beloved ones. And at that point of my conversation with myself, I was already crying like a river, guys. You have no idea. There was a whole river of tears because I think I held that for like a really long time because I was scared to face that I am the only person holding myself back. And when I started discussing it to myself, so I decided, okay, but if that's the problem, then that is not a problem. It's just a matter of taking my family with me. And then a second situation started. Okay, but what if your daughter misses her grandmas and all of that? And I was like, okay, she's not gonna have a traditional rich type of experience life, but she's going to have a modern type of enrichment for her life. Because even if I don't let her live traditionally with her grandmas and all of that, which of course that we will all miss them so much if I ever get to live the itinerant life that I wished for. By the other hand, she would be enriched by so many cultures and by so many other places that she would be amazed by in such a soon age of her life. And I had that conversation, and then I stopped thinking to myself, okay, I think I'm going to call a very, very wise cousin that I have, because if there is one person that can access my heart and speak from her heart, it's my cousin. And my cousin is super lovely. And she's graduating in psychanalysis. How do you call that? And she loves to help people by talking to them, and consolating them. And I called her and I said, hey, cousin, this is my situation. I'm fearing this and that. Please help me out. And she said, oh, hey, this is just a mindset that you put for yourself. there are so many configurations in which you can go ahead and fulfill your dreams with your family, without your family, with a bigger family, with an invented family. The road in life will probably bring you to create like a new world family because it always happens to travelers. And just by talking to her, I had realized I was holding myself back just because of my mind. Because I was like, oh, but in the streets, if I'm out there, it could be dangerous. Yes, but it could also be so pleasant, you know? And then that thought directed me to the oh my god, how is divertidamente in English? Like just a bit divertidamente em inglês. Playfully. Divertidamente. Como se chama o filme divertidamente nos Estados Unidos? Inside Out? Yeah, Inside Out. Okay, Inside Out. That made me remember of Inside Out, the childish, not so much movie, the second one, because um, they were having so many ideas while the anxiety was in front of the machine. They were having so many bad ideas, and then Joy, start gathering all the good images to project for her to think good of herself, you know? So I'm talking about this today because this is not the first time that I realized that a presumption that I have is keeping me from dreaming bigger, you know? And this is the type of cleansing that we want to do inside of our minds. Also, limiting beliefs, they can cause you to make energetical blockages on your chakras. So, I would advise you to clean your chakras. And if you don't know how to do that, or besides getting a tutorial on YouTube, so you can simply do that in about 15 to 20 minutes, you can also see the benefit of it by watching Avatar: The Legend of Aang. The second season, episode 19, is an episode in which Aang meets a guru, and that guru teaches him what is the meaning of cleaning each chakra. Okay. And that is actually super good for you because once you work on the energetic level, you will start releasing RAM memory, if I can call it like that. You can start releasing RAM memory that was filled with empty thought, like dirty thoughts of no value at all. And you can clean that on an energetical level. So the next thought that will come to replace it will be a good one instead of another bad one. Because by rebalancing your energy, you are equanimizando, just a bit, please. Equalifying, yeah, equalizando, equalizing. Sorry. So yes, by balancing your energy, you will be equalizing your inner workings with your thoughts because they are almost a direct reaction from that field. You know, if your energies are blocked, you will start sense that the way you're processing things is also feeling like stuck, you know. And I brought up this because I wanted us to provoke this subject on us in the sense of how many wrong things we allowed ourselves to believe that would make us give up even before we start, right? And because of that, I gathered some material to talk about the subject so we can kind of protect ourselves from falling into the trap, you know? Um, so it's like this. Techniques such as Hake, acupuncture, or chakra balancing are often used to clear the energy blockages caused by limiting beliefs. This practice helps to restore the natural flow of energy, promoting healing on multiple levels. In many spiritual traditions, view limiting belief as illusions created by ego, which seeks to maintain control and prevent the individual from realizing its true nature. To go away from it, practices like meditation and mindfulness and affirmations are used to dissolve these illusions and connect the person to the higher self. So the idea that you are the concept is the fact that you are allowing yourself to undervalue who you are and not see the whole potential. And the fact that sometimes you say to yourself, oh, I'm not worthy. I don't think I'm going to get it. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm not quick enough. Maybe I don't deserve love. And all of that. If you find yourself having thoughts like that in which you are interrupting even the smallest attempt of any movement, try to ring a red alert for yourself, because when you realize that you are having a limiting belief holding you back, and if you get to check it and kind of fix it inside of your mind, if we can call it like that, right? Because the mind are so complicated part of our part of ourselves, that how can we trust that we're going to be able to heal it by ourselves anyway, right? But still you have to try, because you don't want to surrender to things that will hold you uptight on an old circumstance, alluring you that you're just a small person not worthy of great things, right? And believe me, there are so many people who are so great participants of society and community and are helping so big other people out there. And for a moment in their lives, they also thought that they were never going to become anything bigger. And they did. And those paths, they are out there all over for us as an example. So we can choose a template to which follow, and I hope that we get to stop telling ourselves that the bad ideas will come true, because yeah, they could come, but it's just one between a billion of other ideas. And so many of those billions, there are so many good ones. Why are we picking the ones that are making us feel bad about our choices? So because our mind lies, and because our accustomed behaviors will always try to remain on us. When you feel like you're having a limiting belief and you're not understanding for yourself, because this is so usual to happen. It is so usual that sometimes we get to help other people in their limiting beliefs, and we can see the whole trap that they're living into, and we can help them so clearly, but that's because we're outside of all that situation. But when it comes to our turn, we get completely lost and confused because we're inside um, of the situation. So if you got to realize that you're going through loss of hope because of limiting beliefs, try to find someone that's like really connected to you since childhood, and ask them to freely speak in the direction of opening your mind and trying to show to you where did you get stuck in your own ideas, because they are only ideas, and mind is just this place that we can create stories. So yes, our minds and our thoughts, they can lie to us, but if we are too focused on a subject, we could sometimes buy that lie. So if you're not getting to solve this by yourself, don't hesitate in looking for someone who is really acquainted and deeply intimate to your heart so you can find a way out, and sometimes another person can help you to find that way out, um, I think that this is what I wanted to bring by today. Thank you so much for being in here with me. If you were here for just a moment or will watch it ever in your life, thank you so much for letting me in your life, in your attention, in your heart, in your perception. Thank you so much, Love and Moon Boutique, for this space for healing that I hope that will be spread out so largely throughout the whole world. Which reminds me, if you're watching the content, if you're liking, remember to give us your likes and subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for the notifications so you can know about the next lives, right? I also pass by Love and Moon Boutique because they have been offering this space so we can have this healing chat. And they have so many good stuff to make this moment of spiritual phase be also lived in the outer world. And thank you so much, spirituality, for everything that we are building together and for all the open hearts and open mindeds that will ever cross and have already crossed our paths. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Kisses in your heart. Bye bye.